Information presented is for educational purposes only. Moreover, no listener should assume that any information presented serves as the receipt of or substitute for advice from Adams & McReynolds LLP, Regal Investment Advisors LLC, or any other investment professional. Information presented comes from sources considered to be reliable, although they should not be relied upon as such. Neither Adams & McReynolds LLP nor Regal Investment Advisors LLC are a law firm or an accounting firm, and no portion of this segment should be interpreted as legal, accounting, or tax advice. Information expressed does not take into account your specific situation or objectives and is not intended as recommendations appropriate for any individual. Listeners are encouraged to seek advice from a qualified tax, legal, or registered investment professional to determine if any information presented may be suitable for their specific situation. Investment advisory services offered through Regal Investment Advisors LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Adams & McReynolds LLP is independent of Regal Investment Advisors.
Hey everybody, this is Kent Adams. Welcome to Act Two and You.
This public service program has been part of WGEM's News Talk Radio family for more than 10 years, and Act Two and You is designed to offer wisdom and guidance for the second half of life.
The services provided by every contributing member of Act Two are an integral part to life's second act. Together, we hope you gain a nugget of knowledge each and every Sunday morning. And now to our show.
Welcome back to another program of Act Two and You. My name is Laura McReynolds. I'm glad you've joined us this fine Sunday morning. I am here, of course, with my partner, business partner, and co-host both, Mr. Kent Adams. Welcome.
Good morning, and good morning to you, Laura. Good morning to everybody. And we have a special couple of guests with us. First of all, they are wonderful people in the fact that they are Maureen Kahn, President and Chief Executive Officer of Blessing Health Systems and Blessing Hospital, and Patrick Gervler, Executive Vice President and Chief Financial Officer of Blessing Health Systems. So we say good morning to the two of you, and you're very welcome. We're glad you're here.
Good morning. Glad to be here with you.
That's wonderful.
Good morning. Same here. Glad to be here.
Well, we've got a couple of special weeks in a row now because we're going to do two shows with you all, which is kind of fun. And we're excited to introduce Blessing kind of from the top down today, which is not something we normally do. Kent and I are always amazed at the health providers that you all have come on air with us, and we learn so much about the hospital and all of these different levels of care and the different awards and recognitions and these types of things that the hospital receives. And so it's kind of fun for both of us to have you all. So I'm glad you're here. And I guess today's show specifically, we're going to focus on the not-for-profit aspect of Blessing Health Center. And I guess just going back to your origin, it's not-for-profit from the very beginning.
It is. We're a not-for-profit health system dating back 144 years,
Yes.
if you can believe it.
That is a long. I can almost remember that.
Almost, started by a group of women who had probably nothing to do, and their husbands wanted to keep them busy.
Well, yeah, and what a wonderful thing that was.
Absolutely.
I mean, really, that was a good thing. And I have come to the age where I am in total need of all the things that Blessing offers. Mm-hmm. I have spent quite a bit of time there, just recently. I mean, I've met the new Dr. Larson. See, that's a urology thing, and that's an old man program. And,
going back to the 144 years.
Yeah, going back to when you're 144-year-old, your urology may not work as well as you'd like.
There's no warranty on some of our body parts.
I would like to go shopping for several different things, and we just leave it at that.
All right.
I think we're going to change gears on you.
Well, we're going to get back to this not-for-profit thing. As a not-for-profit, we're really owned by the community. We're not owned by a group of investors. So, what that means is at the end of the year, after we're done paying all our bills, there's no checks that we write to individual investors who are owners of the company. The funds that are left over after we've paid all of our bills for the year go back into the health system for us to do things like reinvesting in new community programs, paying for the care that we provide to the community members who don't have any insurance at all, or who may be underinsured. We use it to help recruit new physicians to the community, to help offset maybe some of their educational loans or do some loan forgiveness to help bring them to the community. Because, as you well know today, some of our young physicians are coming out with huge
debts. Oh, my.
With their college loans. Yeah. You know, some of them come out with $300,000-$400,000.
Yeah, if not higher. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's absolutely right. And they would, being young people, even though professional, it takes a long time to pay that kind of debt off.
Yeah.
A long time.
And so we just look to use all of those extra funds to constantly reinvest into what are those new programs and services that we're going to need, not only for today, but for the next 144 years, as we plan, like every other person in the community does. When will we need to replace the roof on the house?
Right.
When is it time to replace the windows? We have to do all of those same replacement plans. Whereas if we were a for-profit organization, we would be writing those checks to the investors.
Right. That's exactly right. And, you know, really the community as a whole, and when I say the community, I'm not only talking about Quincy and Adams County, I'm talking about the surrounding area in Missouri and Illinois and Iowa even. But what great pride can we take in having such a fine institution as Blessing? I mean, really, that's a hallmark for this community. It really is. It's a terrific draw. We have become kind of a health center in the community.
Yeah, we've become a regional medical center in this community. When you take a look at the draw, we draw from probably close to 50 to 75 miles out, wouldn't you say, Pat?
That's defined as our primary. Yeah, and you think about the next major medical centers. It's Columbia, Missouri. It's Iowa City. It's Springfield, Illinois, and St. Louis, which are all 2 hours away at least. So we are the major medical center for that population between here and there.
And that's actually one of the things in having interviewed some of your providers and having learned about some of those awards and some of those achievements that you've been able to accomplish. You know, I think about a rural system, and maybe the one I grew up with back in Arkansas, so we're talking 30 plus years ago, but everyone wanted to go out 30 years ago to the more metropolitan areas because they thought they were getting better care. And that's not the case anymore.
No, it is not the case. If you take a look at some of the physicians that we have been able to recruit into this community, we have some unbelievably well-trained and educated community, from premier medical schools, residency training.
Absolutely.
And they choose to come to Quincy. Some of them have been born here, grew up here, but some of them have not, but they have grown up in the Midwest region. And they choose to come here because what they find in this community is good schools. They find a community that has the arts, that has good transportation, and they find a place where they can come and not only practice medicine in a way that they want to practice medicine and what they've learned, but they find a place that they can raise a family, and they want to have that balance today.
And that's a big deal.
And I think as a health system, I would say we see the Blessing logo on so many things that are reinvesting, not, and you were speaking of reinvesting a moment ago, but not just in the health system itself, but reinvesting in the community.
Absolutely.
All the time.
All the time. I mean, you know, the one thing that we are very concerned about is the health of our community. That's our mission. We want to improve the health of our community. And when we looked at the recent health statistics this past year, you know, Adams County was number one for obesity.
Right. We've spoken about that.
You know, it's not that we like to see those number one foam fingers going up, you know, that we're number one. But we saw an opportunity to help with the walking trails. Saw that as a great opportunity, as a way to let's help this community have some safe walking paths. How do we do that? We saw an opportunity to partner with our businesses in our Be Well at Work. And Pat has worked with that program very closely. And I don't know if you want to talk about that, Pat.
Yeah, it's been a great journey for us as we've created the Employer Clinic. We first started having the Employer Clinic within the Blessing Physician Services office, and then we had the opportunity to be able to lease the property at 24th and Broadway and have a specific place for the Employer Clinic. So employers pay a per employee fee per month, and then employees can access that Employer Clinic. It's primary care. And within it has radiology, laboratory services, and pharmacy, all for the employee with no copay, no deductible applying to the employee.
That's really good.
And it's been very popular. We started with, our first employer. We're up to 25 employers now.
Wow.
And we're out selling even more. So my job is more from, an accountant sitting behind the desk to out sitting, on the other side with employers talking about what we're doing and really telling our story. And we've had great success with that program today.
And saving the employers money at the same time.
Yes.
Correct.
And we've expanded access points. So if the Employer Clinic is closed, the employees can now use our facilities at the 2 Hy-Vees here in town,
right,
at the Canton Hy-Vee, or at the Canton County Market Store, and also at the Hannibal Clinic. So.
Yeah.
Lots of not just having to stay within the 24th and Broadway location.
Yeah,
so
no,
it's been very
terrific.
popular.
That is terrific.
Because being that we sit here in Quincy right on the river, a lot of our businesses have points of access for their business on either side of the river.
Absolutely.
So it was important for us to have contact points for them on either side of the river.
It's already time for our first break. We'll be back with you.
More Act 2 and You to come on News Talk 105.
Hi, I'm Sarah Ginnenbacher.
And I'm Jason Bedell, and we're both certified personal trainers at Advanced Wellness. If you're a baby boomer, born between 1946 and 1964, you're one of the largest, fastest-growing populations in the world. There's over 80 million adults 55 and older, and 10,000 every day turn 65. And our passion at Advance is to inspire and motivate those baby boomers and seniors to live an active, vibrant, and healthy life.
Contact us at Advance Wellness, 222-6800, or find us on Facebook.
It's thoughtful and sensible to plan funeral arrangements in advance.
Your wishes will be carried out, the cost is secured, and there's no added stress on the family.
Plan a celebration in advance. It's a kind way to care for your family. Call us. We'll take care of the rest.
Hanson Spear Funeral Home, celebrating a life well lived.
See it clearly. See it here. Your good vision starts at Specs. Get a thorough eye exam from Dr. Dan Hayden and Dr. Danita Bachol-Cooley, optometrists. Choose from our awesome selection of eyewear for frames that are really you. Contacts? They're a specialty at Specs. Ask about the insurance we accept, too. It's the kind of vision care you want for your family. So call us, 224-SPECS. Specs. You'll like what you see.
All optometric services performed by a licensed optometrist.
Is retirement too big a number to wrap your mind around? Is the amount you'll need too big a mystery? Do you know where you stand today in order to figure out tomorrow? At Adams & McReynolds, we want to get to know you, not just your numbers. We believe with our team approach to guide you, financial planning will yield confidence, assurance, and a good night's sleep. Get your financial plans underway by calling us at 224-0420. Live more, worry less. That's Adams & McReynolds.
We track storms.
Heavy rain, frequent lightning, large hail, damaging wind.
WGEM is ready.
If you see a tornado, you need to get inside.
I want you to take shelter for those possible threats.
Ready to keep you informed.
Southeast at 50 miles per hour. We want you at home to take shelter right now.
Ready with advanced Doppler radar technology for the most accurate detail.
We have another line of some storms pushing through south central Iowa.
When the skies turn, trust the WGEM Storm Track Weather Team, your weather authority.
News Talk 105 WGEM. What radio wants to be when it grows up. News Talk 105 WGEM FM. Quincy, Hannibal, Keokuk.
We now return to Act 2 and You, hosted by Adams and McReynolds. In today's One Less Worry segment, we're going to discuss briefly two concepts that address two different goals. Both strategies use the same financial planning tool. You may have heard of using a whole life insurance policy to provide tax-free retirement income or to provide funds for a big-ticket item.
That's right, Kent. One concept is commonly referred to as Bank on Yourself, and the other is called a Life Insurance Retirement Plan, or LIPR. As you said, both of these concepts utilize a type of life insurance policy called whole life. And while neither of these concepts can be considered an investment, we sometimes recommend this strategy as a savings plan. Naturally, there are pros and cons, and this strategy will not work for everyone. Let's consider for one moment how it works. These strategies require a specific feature within a whole life insurance policy that allows the policy owner to access money through a policy loan. This allows your entire cash value to remain inside the contract and continue to earn dividends and interest as if you didn't take any money. This is a very important point to grasp, and if this strategy would be a good fit for your situation, a financial planner, who is a fiduciary as we are, would make certain that you understand this loan provision fully before deciding if the strategy is right for you. It is this loan provision which would allow the policy owner to avoid a bank loan and borrow from his or herself for a large ticket item. It's also this loan provision which allows the policy owner to borrow from his or herself as a tax-free stream of income in retirement. I would only make this recommendation if it is suitable for you and if it is in your best interest.
When it comes to nurturing your wealth, Laura and I have you covered. We are retirement specialists who offer insurance, investments, and plenty of advice. We like to think when it comes to helping you plan your retirement income, we can give you peace of mind and therefore one less worry.
More Act 2 and You to come on News Talk 105.
For 90 years, Mercantile Trust Services has earned the trust and respect of our clients by providing accountability and expertise. Senior Trust Officers Joanne Wilmot, Dick Milgram, and myself, Randy McFarland, are unmatched in our knowledge and experience. And with the addition of Dan Cook and Ramona Schoonover, our team is stronger than ever. We're proud to faithfully serve relationships that span generations of families in the Quincy area. Trust, that's Mercantile.
At Good Samaritan Home of Quincy, we know that the need for quality healthcare services has never been greater. For more than 60 years, Good Samaritan has provided superior Christian service to our residents, their families, and the greater community through compassionate, charitable care. At Good Samaritan, we are especially suited to meet your particular needs with dignity and compassion. This is Burgundy Ramsey, Director of Development, inviting you to come visit us at Good Samaritan Home, where it just feels like home.
When a restaurant sounds like this, when music sounds like this, it's time to reclaim your enjoyment of hearing. Quincy Audiology is the only Audigy certified practice in the region. We take the time to understand your hearing issues. With precise diagnostic testing, experience optimal clarity with a hearing solution tailored especially for you. From Quincy Audiology.
People have invited Blessing Home Care and Blessing Hospice into their homes for 30 years. And it's not just because we're great company. People choose Blessing for these vital home-based health services because Blessing is the region's homegrown healthcare leader with a reputation for quality and compassion 3 decades strong. If your doctor recommends home care or hospice care for you or a loved one, invite only the best into your home. Choose Blessing.
We track storms.
Heavy rain, frequent lightning, large hail, damaging wind.
WGEM is ready.
If you see a tornado, you need to get inside.
I want you to take shelter for those possible threats.
Ready to keep you informed.
Southeast at 50 miles per hour. We want you at home to take shelter right now.
Ready with advanced Doppler radar technology for the most accurate detail.
We have another line of some storms pushing through south central Iowa.
When the skies turn, trust the WGEM Storm Track Weather Team, your weather authority.
When you need an accountant, you need a CPA firm you can trust, one with experience. At Arnold Barons Nesbitt Gray, certified public accountants, we prepare over 3,500 income tax returns. We conduct over 50 audits in the tri-state area, and we offer you a full range of accounting and bookkeeping services. We're a QuickBooks certified professional advisor. When you're looking for an accountant, contact ABNG.
Arnold Barons Nesbitt Gray, located at 9th and Hampshire in Quincy.
We now return to Act 2 and You, hosted by Adams and McReynolds. Hey, everybody, we are back, and our two guests, again, for those of you who have just tuned in, are Maureen Kahn, President and Chief Executive Officer of Blessing Health Systems, and her cohort, Patrick Gervler, who's Executive Vice President and Chief Financial Officer of Blessing Health Systems. And Laura, you have a question for them that you were just itching to get out before the break.
I was. So we spent the first half kind of talking a little bit about the not-for-profit status of Blessing Health System and the fact that the hospital started 144 years ago as a not-for-profit. But in addition to being a not-for-profit, it is also considered a sole community provider. And I wondered what that means and how that affects the services that you provide or how you run your business.
Well, you know, this goes back to probably in the 1930s or 1940s. Congress established this category called sole community hospitals, sole community providers.
Really? I never heard of it before, but that's good. I mean, it's education.
Correct. They were looking at communities, especially in rural parts of America, to make sure that hospitals that were out there were going to be able to be strong enough, stable enough, have the resources that they needed. And in one category, they used to call them frontier hospitals in some parts of the country, where they made sure that they got reimbursement. And I'm sure there was a cowboy somewhere in that in that area. But these were hospitals that you may not find another hospital for about 50 miles or 75 miles of equal caliber. You might find a small outpost somewhere. You might find a smaller facility. But this was going to be a hospital that had capability to take care of surgery and birthing babies and more complex cases.
Very forward thinking of them.
Well, Blessing earned this status after we acquired St. Mary's Hospital. When there were two hospitals here in town, we were not a sole community provider.
Oh, okay.
But after we acquired St. Mary's and there was only one hospital, we then had the eligible status because the closest hospital to us was Hannibal Regional Hospital, and it was less than 100 beds. And it didn't have the same capacity as we did, and it wasn't in the same state.
Mm-hmm.
So to that, Medicare, it did have an additional level of reimbursement that it made sure that we were paid. Today, that reimbursement over time has whittled away. As you might recall, every year they balance the budget. And they take this away. I'm not sure that Sole Community Hospital, I don't know, Pat, if it's really worth a lot today to us.
But I think what it does is, Pat, you were saying during the first segment, when people look to other hospitals, even though the designation is Sole Community Provider, people are looking 2 hours away from here. So
Correct.
This is a way of saying this hospital is going to be strong enough, stable enough, and have the resources to provide and continue to provide for the community. And I know you mind those resources quite well, Pat. So when we talk about that and making sure that you're here for the long haul, how does that work?
Right. And what we do as a health system, working with our board of trustees, our management team, we plan out in 5-year increments. And we have our 5-year financial plan, which is married to our strategic plan, married to our capital, our investment plan, how we're going to spend the money on new facilities or physician recruitment. And we really want to make sure that the plans are all married together and match up. We're rated every year by Standard & Poor's. So they come, this year they physically came to the organization. Mm-hmm. They sat down for 3 or 4 hours. They want to hear from Maureen about how well we did as an organization, but not only financially how well we did on our strategic initiatives. And then they want to see our forward plans in the organization. So on the financial side, to maintain the A rating that we have to meet certain standards of operating margin. That's how much money we keep for reinvesting after all of our expenses are paid. Our days cash on hand. So how many days can the organization go if cash stopped coming in? And also our debt to capitalization and how well we're maintaining our levels of debt in the organization. And one of the reasons we're required to keep a higher level of cash reserves, and this is Moody's and Standard & Poor's definition of why health systems are, is because our 2 biggest customers, Medicare and Medicaid, are there in their definition are riskier customers to do business with, because governments can stop payments, as we saw with under the Rauner administration. We went almost a year and a half without a payment. So if we treated somebody, it'd take about 500 or 600 days to get payment. So we have to have those cash reserves if there are disruptions in our payments from our Medicare and our Medicaid, which is over 65% of our business.
And does that tie into your being the safety net for the community?
Oh, absolutely. Because no matter what happens, people come to us and we take them and we care for them regardless of their ability to pay. It's the last thing we look at. And we do ask people to be accountable, so I don't want to have people misunderstand us. If they have the ability to pay their bill, we do expect them, but we do have standards, and Pat and his team will work with individuals to help them pay their bills if they've got the ability to do that. But if they don't have the wherewithal and they meet our guidelines and we go above and beyond the state's definitions of poverty guidelines for people to help them with their bill payments.
That's very big.
Well, and the amount of dollars, I think you had it in the newspaper a few years ago. I think people are it's staggering, the amount of money that you spend as a safety net provider. Absolutely. We do a lot of charity care every year in the community for patients, whether it's the difference, the gap between what Medicare pays for the cost of care and what it costs us to provide that care, or Medicaid.
Yeah.
And I think that just goes to show, and we were talking about this just a little while ago, as far as you reinvesting in the community. I mean, that's part of your partnership culture, is you're partnering with the community by being that provider.
Absolutely. It takes the whole community to provide for care for patients. As we know today, when you take a look at the health of people, to help people get healthier, we do about 10% of it in the health system. The rest of it goes back out into what we call the social determinants, or people's own environmental factors or their own personal behaviors. We can do a lot to help you stop smoking, to help you stop drinking, to help you stop some of your risky behaviors. But all of that becomes your own personal choices, but they affect your health. We can tell you, here's your prescription. You've got to take it and get it filled. You then have to take the pills. We may fill the prescription for you, but you still have to take it. And so there are a lot of things that we're looking at down the road in the future of how do we start moving out of what has been our comfortable boundaries down here and say, how do we start looking at breaking through those barriers and getting out into those social determinants? As you well know, 3 years ago, we started the community garden on our property, and we partnered with the Chamber and the Boy Scouts and a couple other agencies, and we took one of our vacant lots, and we're teaching people in the community how to garden.
Sure.
and how you can grow tomatoes. Well, we can teach you how to put that pot on your apartment on the patio.
That's right.
But we want you to learn how to live a different lifestyle. We're going to teach you how to do things differently.
We're all in this together, and the more we all practice good health, the better off we'll all be.
Absolutely. But it's hard to change.
It is hard to change, but at least Blessing is taking the lead, and a lot of people are starting to follow into that lead, and I think that's vital. And we appreciate it. We really do.
It's been so good to have you all here, and stay tuned, folks. Next week we'll have more of Blessing Health System.